Shiny Zekrom. Greetings, Pikmin Planters. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order. And welcome to another Pikmin Bloom live stream here on the channel, where basically the idea is for us to kind of talk about what could happen in the future of Pikmin Bloom, what we'd like to see happen in the future of Pikmin Bloom. I'm also going to share a few other tips and tricks I sort of came up with along the way here. There's some other stuff that we got to talk about as well. But let me see if I can name off as many people as I can in my limited chat window. I see Apple and Tomato, Misael Rosales, Pola Wojcik, I messed that up, I apologize. We have Naim, NYM, Emerald Girl, Jen AB, Jose Colon, Cobra, Pokemon Guy, Ricky Gamer 24. I think that's it. Pokemon Guy asking, everyone, shout out your Pikmin levels. Let me do that for myself here. I just recently hit level 34. I currently have to grow, looks like 9 more Pikmin and walk another 19,000 steps. So I'll get to that eventually. I did do my walking for the day. I've held off on doing a couple of things because I want to do stuff with you folks here on stream. Kind of show you what I do for the day. Maybe it'll help you with what you do for the day as well. So for the moment, I'm trying to build up more of my blue nectar. Let me go back to my Pikmin list here. Blue nectar is the harder one to come by, I find. And I'm not the only one. Other people have said, I see I'm not the only one that's having trouble keeping up blue nectar, blue flowers. So I'm trying to build more of that. I'll send them off on expeditions in just a little bit here. First thing I want to do, though, I want to take a look-see and show you this. Let me go back to the map again for a second here. Or no, let me go here. I'm going to bring up this map. I'll show you where I walked. Bring this down here. So, usually when I'm trying to grow some of the big flowers in the neighborhood, I go as far as right about here. You can see the footsteps on screen. I'll walk there. It's within the radius of one of the big flowers, the big sprouts. And I noticed that, I'll show you this. This is what made me think of trying to use my detector in certain places. If I click Pikmin in the headings here and zoom in, see, for example, it shows in this area, this is where I've gotten some of my hair salon Pikmin. I can actually tap on one and see we got Crew Cut, our blue one, and only one more, the yellow one, but there was a couple sticker ones there also. But this can help you decide where you want to use your detector if you're trying to get a set of decor. So, for example, some bottle cap Pikmin are here from the mini mart, which is right in the middle of the map here. Coffee shop as well, restaurant. So right now I only need one more decor park Pikmin, some park decor Pikmin. Right now, this rock Pikmin I picked up recently, scroll down, you'll see that it does have the park as its location. I got to friend this guy up, get him maxed out to get his park decor. After that, I only need one more color for the park, and that will be purple. And as I said, I went to that spot, used my detector today. I've got expeditions. I do have a purple seedling where I think the park area is. I'm going to show you this right here. So right here, this is the purple seedling on the map, or on my list of expeditions. I'm going to tap on it once. Notice the location. It shows like just a little dot, like a standard map pin kind of thing you'd see on like Google Maps or whatever. If it shows that, it's got to back out, click it again, and see what the location looks like. It is park. I wanted to wait and see that with you folks together. That's the last Pikmin I need to get the whole park decor set complete. So I'll be sending some of my Pikmin out to grab that as soon as possible. Plant that, pluck that as soon as I can, and get that friended up. It's another set complete. So, using the Pikmin heading on here, this can help you decide where to use your detectors if you're trying to find certain ones for your decor sets. So, as I say, I'll be grabbing that in just a little bit. Alright, we see some level 35s. What did I just say? I was 34. Someone's got me beat. Actually, I do know someone on my list, Brittany, I believe was a beta tester. Well, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but they are at like level 50 something, and there's something different about their level, let's just say. So it's kind of cool. Let's say, Christian says, we're getting to best friends in Pokemon Go. I'm going to point out too, so anybody that is friends with me in Pokemon Go, people have asked me before, as we're 1 point away from best friending up, should we synchronize when you use a lucky egg? And for me, I'm like, you know what? I don't really care that much about the bonus experience of lucky egging for best friends. Anytime someone is my friend in Pokemon Go and we're about to hit best friends, I always send a gift to the other person, and then whenever you feel like opening that, use your lucky egg, open that gift. You can get the bonus experience for yourself. Me, I don't mind missing out on that, you know? So don't worry about syncing up with me. I appreciate the thought, but do what's best for you, and I'll be okay. Alright, what's going on right now? Apple and Tomato saying, can you give Pikmin? No, you can't. Not right now, anyway. I don't know if they're going to change that in the future, but they do not have a way to transfer anything other than postcards. You can't really put anything in the postcards, but I'm going to talk about that later on in the stream here. And Archie is asking, can I friend you? Right now, does it show? My friends list is at 192, and I'm pretty sure it maxes out at 200, so unfortunately, from here on out, I'm going to have to leave my friending to local people, because, I mean, at this point, I don't even know if I was to get, like, say, 10 local friends added, I don't even know who would I delete off my list. You know, how do I pick and choose? I hate having to do that. So, for me, I'm going to not accept friend codes for the next little bit, at least until, you know, something happens, whatever. But at any point during this live stream, you can drop your friend code in the chat. I do have slow mode on so that we don't overload, like no spamming or anything. But, you know, once per minute you can post a message. So feel free, everybody, put your friend codes in the chat, and you may exchange amongst one another and get yourself a new friend, possibly from around the world. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Apple and Tomato says, you live in a small neighborhood, so you only get roadsides. Well, as I said to somebody else in the comments earlier, if you kind of like just walk around your area, if there's like a forest nearby, or if you're near the water, any sort of like some sort of a business maybe, post office, try walking around there. And if you don't see any seedlings appear naturally, use your detector and just see what location they have. Because if you do happen to find something like, say, near a post office, you could get a whole post office set over the next few days using your detector to try to spawn more seedlings. So I always say, you never know. In fact, I'll show you this too. What you can do at any point when you're walking, hit your detector and it shows you what is nearby your area. Now, I've already used mine for the day, so I can't hit it again. But, like, right now, yeah, it says roadside, so stickers. But if I walk up the street a little bit, then, like, right up around where all these bunches of flowers are cobbled together, I see things like hair salon, mini mart, restaurant, cafe. So just walk around, take a look, see what the detector tells you is nearby, and that can help you choose when to use that up. All right. Varian says, sounds like I'm going to be jogging alongside the river, and that could be a way to get some, you know, riverside Pikmin or waterside Pikmin. Nifty the Crafter says you got waterside Pikmin costume and you live nowhere near water. Well, there is also a trick, which is, I don't like to suggest it. It's an exploit where you can adjust the location of photos for your life log and stuff. I'm sure if you look into it, like just do a Google search for it, you can find that info on your own. But me personally, I like to go to the locations where the Pikmin will appear for me, you know, and then do the expeditions and stuff. But there has been a way people are getting like beach, movie theater, airport, stuff like that. So just do a little search. And I'm going to say, before we get into the main topics, I am hurt because I don't know what to do. We have a limitation of... What am I doing? I want to go to my main list here. We have a limitation of 300 Pikmin, I believe that is. So I'm at 193, so I'm not quite there to maxing out just yet. But if I go look at my list of Pikmin that I have plucked out, say I've got like 51 reds. Like this is my list of all the Pikmin I've plucked so far. I kind of don't want to get any more red Pikmin, because they're going to overwhelm my total of 300, right? So, it hurts, but I have a red seedling waiting to be expeditionized, or whatever, right here, but, like, I kind of don't want to get it. Also, in my seedlings, I have a red seedling. I don't want to plant it, unless it's going to be a new decor that I do not have. So this one's another roadside. it hurts to not, like, you know, there is a recycle button. I'm assuming that just means you could discard it. And I don't like to do that, because I don't know what's going to happen to this poor little seedling. But I can hold up to 30 seedlings. I'll be okay with that. For me personally, as soon as I hit 30 of a color, I'm going to focus on other Pikmin that I don't have enough of yet, or decors that I don't have, or anything linked in the life log. I'll talk a little bit about that life log as well. I've been trying to experiment with it, but nothing's really been happening. Alright, anyway, let us first of all... Do I want to send expeditions? Well, what I want to do... We'll talk about the mushrooms. We'll talk about the topics I want to go over here today with all of you folks. I also want to talk about the upcoming Community Day as well, because something new might be happening in that. Let's see what's going on here. Varen says, your neighbor's large swimming pool shows up as a body of water. Yeah, I mean, if it shows waterside as a spot on your detector, give it a shot. You never know, right? Christian's asking, can you please make another Pokemon Go video or stream? I am working on another one, actually, right now. Tomorrow or the next day is when the next thing in the Season of Heritage happens, so I'm going to be recording for that, and I should have a new video out for Pokemon Go in the next few days, let's say. So stay tuned. Varen says, you collect the seedlings to raise friendship with the Pikmin, then you discard it afterwards. That counts as an expedition. Expeditions do make your Pikmin happier with you, so that is something that you can do. But I can't discard yet, but I've got space before I got to worry about that. Alright, let's see what we want to talk about. The mushroom challenges. One moment here. I got a fancy little thing that isn't really all that fancy, but just to make things easier for people who might be watching this post-stream, I want them to see what the heading is, so they know. I changed that. There it is. That doesn't look good at all. Mushroom challenges. Okay, we're going to say that's okay enough. So let's talk about the mushroom challenges. Some people have been asking me recently, you got 4 stars on some of these? Like, I have gotten 4-star, what do you call them, postcards for some of these mushroom challenges. Can I show them off? This, for example. So, I've only gotten them so far on small mushrooms, because, of course, they're the easiest to take down. But you can indeed get a 4-star rating. So, right now, I am at level 30... I gotta keep checking. Level 34. I can send 27 Pikmin to a challenge. And that's how I've been able to get the 4 stars. From the looks of it, you have to get the mushroom defeated in under 33 seconds. I've had a number of challenges that come down to 32 seconds, and then we win, and that's how I got a gold. However, I did take on a white mushroom, and I got it down in 32 seconds, and I didn't get a 4-star. So some of the mushrooms might be time varied based on how much HP it has. But let me show you something actually before I even get into this on the map. I have a little spreadsheet that I'm working on. Where is it? Is this it? I'm keeping track of how much power Pikmin do based on each mushroom. So all of this, mind you, is based off of Pikmin that are fully friended with their decor item, and their leaf or their bud has been bloomed into a pansy or a rose. If you bloom them into like the standard white flower with 5 petals, or like a blue or red or whatever, they are less powerful. Roses and pansies are more powerful than the other flowers, so you want to do that. And so your numbers might vary if you don't have max friendship or the decor item. Decor items do add more power, but whether or not it comes from a huge seedling or from maxing out your friendship and they go and pick up their decor item, then you have the most power you can get, basically. So anyways, as you can see, of course, generally, the color of the mushroom is weakest against the same color of Pikmin. So a red Pikmin with a decor item, fully friended, with a rose or a pansy bloom, they're going to do 33 power apiece to the red mushroom. Pretty much down the line. I don't have purple complete just yet. I haven't had a purple show up in the neighborhood while I've been doing this. But every other color I've seen, and the size of the mushroom does not seem to matter in what I've noticed so far. I have a couple of, I've done like normal and large mushrooms of the same color, and the power output of your Pikmin is the same. So, what I want to do is, I'm going to take on this white large mushroom down the way here. So obviously, I'm checking the mushrooms on the right side. White is most weak against white Pikmin, but the other two that are colored in, gray and purple, they're second and third best against these things. So I want to prioritize. If I don't have enough white Pikmin, I'll bring in some rock Pikmin, and if I don't have enough of them, I'll bring in the purple Pikmin. So I'm going to, once I have this complete, this chart, which I'll now take off my face. Did I? No, I took the text off. There we go. Alright, so, that being said, once I get purple done, I'm going to post that on like my Twitter, my Instagram, and I'll probably do it on the community tab here too, so y'all can see what the best way to take these mushrooms down is going to be. Let's see. John 314 saying, can you do a chart for fruit items to mushrooms? How do you mean? Like, what I am taking note of is the reward that you get, because every mushroom challenge you complete gives you pansy nectar. And as far as what type of fruit it is, I don't think it really matters. You'll still get pansy nectar, but the color is different based on the mushrooms. I'll bring this back up again quickly, too, just to show you that. Because off to the right, I see, or I say, reward of pansy nectar, and I show the color. What's interesting is, it looks like yellow pansy nectar only has one possible reward from a yellow mushroom. Red and pink mushrooms provide red pansy nectar. Blue and I believe purple, someone had confirmed that, provide blue nectar. And there's 3 that provide white nectar. There's the white mushrooms, gray mushrooms, and brown mushrooms. I would have thought, to even things out, that the brown mushroom would give yellow. But when I took one down, it gave me white, and I guess that's the thing that is. So anyway, here's what I do as far as preparing for a challenge. Now, I'm going to get as many white Pikmin as I can. I'm going to try to empty out my entire squad. This takes a little bit of time, but I'll just show you the full process that I go through. So, I'm pretty sure I don't have 27 white Pikmin, and that's how many I can send to a challenge. So, I'm going to find every white Pikmin I can get. In fact, little Bean, this little coffee cup one, likes to hide on us. I often skim right by, not realizing it was there. Okay, so let's grab every white, and I think it says I've plucked 11 of these, maybe? Or maybe a little bit more. Just bear with me here as I snag all these. I know Spectre, our roadside white Pikmin, is the first one I got, so once we find him, we're good to add them all in. Where are you at, Spectre? Another white there, white, and there's Spectre. So that's 19. We're going to add them in. And now, you can't empty your whole party at once, so I had to leave one straggler of Skywalker. So I'm going to add, how many more can I add? 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to find 8 fully friended decor rock Pikmin. There's one there, 2. Mocha in a coffee cup. A lot of these costumes are pretty cool. 6. Stallone, and we'll grab this one. Alright, so that's the full team that's going to attack this white mushroom. And they're all member you now. But we'll save that for a little bit. Okay, so this is my team ready to roll. The trick is to maximize your petals. You want to have your Pikmin in bud form before you feed them any of your special nectars. So, hold it up here. You just got to hold your nectar, the Pikmin run to it. Sometimes they can't all bunch in there at once, so you just kind of drag it around, let them chase after it. So under most circumstances, when you tap on a Pikmin to get a petal, you'll get one petal based off whatever the nectar was that you gave them. But if they are in bud form and then you feed them the special nectar, check this out. I get 2 petals. So that's how you want to maximize boosting up your petal count. Make them in bud form, and then feed them the nectar. And then you can get extra petals by doing that. And I will be opening some postcards too, by the way. At some point, I just want to get through some of this more important information. Come here, Platter. There we go. Alright, so I think they're all good to go. Now, I have to take one out, put a placeholder Pikmin in, basically. Oh, wait, Perler. You're not maxed out yet, technically. Ah, it's close enough, whatever. Okay, we're just going to add in this purple dude just to hold the fort while everyone else sends out to go take on this mushroom challenge. Okay, so we're going to join this. Choose my whites first. I like how you can tap the color to just go by types of Pikmin. So we're going to grab all these whites that have now been pansied up. And again, I said make sure you use pansy or rose nectar, because the standard... I had another white? Did I not feed you? How did you miss? Wait. I'm okay with this. I mean, we're not going to get an amazing rating as it is anyway, because this is a large mushroom. So we're just going to go with that. So my overall output is 463. Go at it, guys. Start dropping your comments now. You're in the chat. How long do you think this is going to take? Ooh, that video footage is not looking great. But anyways, so the best thing is, of course, color matching will be your best bet. And make sure you bloom them up into a rose or a pansy first of all. The max friendship, decor item, those are the ways to get your most power output for these mushroom challenges. This might take a while. Let's back out for now. I feel like you can still see their HP wheel on the map here too. Alright, let's see. People can still, yeah, if you still want to drop friend codes in the chat, rare flower petal, just to save yourself some of the more expensive, more hard to come by petals, but however you want to do it is fine. Just make sure the majority that you plant is in the 151 or higher, so that flower will bloom. So, similar to what the rose happened for me, at some level, which I don't remember what it is, doing this can accidentally give you a nice surprise. Blue pansy bloomed for me today doing that method, where you can see the other three were just the standard blue flowers. So, at some point, which for me happened at level 19, where I had just hit level 19 and I was trying to bloom more blue pansies for nectar. This one over here, actually, the pansy, when I bloomed that using pansy pansy petals, there we go, it conveniently bloomed into a rose instead. So, I'm going to say, it might be before level 19, but I can guarantee it's at least at level 19. Once you hit that level, try blooming as many large pansies as you can, and you may be lucky enough to bloom a rose instead. It'll give you a piece of fruit that gives you rose nectar. You can then feed to your Pikmin, get your rose petals by, you know, tapping their bloom, get the petals off of them. Then you have rose petals to start planting. As for what to bloom next, like what comes after roses, I don't know yet. I haven't bloomed anything other than a rose thus far. Not because I wasn't trying. I was trying to bloom as much as I could. But that's the basic rundown. Keep planting your petals, your pansy petals around the big flowers at level 19 or higher, and just wait for the good luck to come your way and give you your first batch of rose nectar. So that's how you get yourself roses in the game. There was actually something in the shop which has changed, if you've noticed this before. The Bloom pack at 1480 coins, they did have tulip petals in here. You see now there's pansy petals. They had packs of tulip petals, and some people had said in the comments on here that they did buy the Bloom pack and they were planting tulip petals, but they could not bloom a big tulip. That might be because that's locked behind a higher level. That's probably the main reason that is, actually. So, in a way, I'm glad that they changed it, because if I had saved up the coins to get this pack with tulip petals and I couldn't bloom a darn big tulip, I would have been upset. But so be it. I've said, though, I wish that they would have actually put rose petals in this pack for people, though, because if you're having trouble getting roses, then this would be a way to get the petals. But then again, if you were less than level 19, you might not be able to bloom the big roses, so you have the same issue as with the tulips. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. How is our challenge going? We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Let's just keep them going. Okay, so that is all I have to really say about blooming the roses. Then, of course, once you get your rose petals, it'll be much easier to bloom big flowers into roses, so you can continue getting more petals that way. Alright, let's get caught up on the chat here. Aloha says, anyone else's nearby changed a few days ago? From your home, it was always park and mini mart, and now it just shows roadside. I haven't noticed it change myself, but does anybody else see that? Oh, actually, Renee Medina says you noticed it as well. B. Wilson's watching on the phone and TV. Awesome. Are they in sync, I wonder? Okay. I thought the audio completely stopped. Did it? Or is that just my headphones being stupid again? If there's any audio problems, let me know. I think I can fix it. I don't hear them fighting. I'm gonna try actually preemptively to do a... No, never mind. I just had to move my head a certain way. Alright, yeah, these headphones are terrible. I need a new set. Well, Christmas is on the way. Let's see. Jen AB says, almost all your nearbys are roadsides. No fun. You also live in Canada and it's super cold trying to walk around. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I don't really go too much further than just like a couple blocks around my house. So that's the concern that we're going to have. And like the walking conditions are going to get more dangerous too. So we'll see how well I can keep up my pace of getting all these flowers bloomed as I want. So we completed the challenge. I'm only expecting a 1-star. But we still will get some white pansy nectar, which I did use to build up their flowers. A score of 57-53, I believe that was, though. And I think, did that actually get Perler maxed out friendship-wise? I just saw the heart. That must have, because everyone else is already maxed friendship. Alright, let's... I'd like to hope so. If you see me back, let me know in the chat. So I know this is still working once again. We can get back to what we were going over. Where are we at? Did my chat lock up too? I don't know. I think I'm back. Looks like it. Yes. Okay. Alright, anyway, so as I just did, I completed that mushroom challenge. We're going to grab this, and that was 27 white pansy nectar. So, of course, that's what you get for doing your mushroom challenges. Pansy nectar of various colors. Alright, so since we are back, we were finishing up talking about the rose blooming. I want to talk about, before we run out of, or before we have another glitchy kind of thing, I did see a comment though while I was waiting. First, Chill was asking, are you the maker of Pikmin Bloom? How do you know all the info? I am not the maker, I'm just a player, just a fan, and I'm the kind of person that loves to experiment and get into the nitty-gritty of stuff like this, learn as I go. So I've just been basically just experimenting, experiencing the game, and just kind of like making a record of what's happened to me and stuff like that, because I like being able to share the information with people out there. Now, I will say, as we talk about some stuff that we'd like to see in the future, I'm normally not the kind of person who reads into like data mining and stuff, because there are some people that will go so far as to, like, you know, basically crack into the game, look at the code, and see what is in there that we don't know about. And as I say, normally I'm not that kind of person, but I did want to have as much information to share with you folks today as possible. So there is something I can talk about, a couple things, but really there's not that much that hasn't been really publicly released yet. So I'll let you know if you don't want any sort of behind the scenes spoilers when I'm going to talk about it, then you can like mute the stream or whatever. But there's just a couple things we can talk about. But before that, I want to talk one more thing about... some people have asked me, how do you have a big flower in your backyard? I want to make one, and the thing is, I didn't make it. The way this works, and actually, I'm going to show you an example here. So you can see right here, we've got, what is that? That's an apple. I see that little glowing thing in the background. So we've got this flower here, the Carlton Community Center. Where is my chat? I locked up. There we go. And we've got this flower is the Old Forts Monument. So those are two of our, they're called way spots as far as Niantic, you know, names them. So showing these, I'm actually going to switch over to Pokemon Go, which I have open and waiting. Does it have to reload? No, we're good. So in Pokemon Go, we've got this gym over here, which is the Carlton Community Center, which we saw in Pikmin Bloom as a big flower. We do not see the Old Forts Monument here. However, we see something here that we didn't see in Pikmin Bloom. This is... Did we lose audio? Oh, I don't have the music turned on, I think. Okay, anyway, whatever. This is the Carlton 1890. It's like a fountain, bird bath, something. I'm not even sure what it is. But... those are a couple things. And, of course, in the backyard, we have the Street Art Angry Pipe, which is the flower in my backyard. And I think we did lose audio. No. Why was Pokemon so quiet then? Whatever. Okay. So, The way the locations work in all of Niantic's games, they're submitted by players, and what I could do, for example, like say, if this was what I had in the neighborhood and that Carlton 1890 was not a location yet, as a player in, say, Pokemon Go or Ingress, another AR game that Niantic has produced, their first one, I think, at certain levels, I can find a real-life point of interest and submit it as a new suggestion for a way spot for Niantic's database, like this map of all the points of interest that people have submitted. I do know, last I checked, you have to be level 38 in Pokemon Go to be able to suggest these way spots. And I forget, I think Ingress, it says level 10? And currently, in Pikmin Bloom, there is no way to submit new suggestions, but eventually I'm sure they'll probably bring that into this game as well. So if anybody wants to try to suggest new spots, like if you live in an area that you don't have any like big flowers or mushroom challenges or what have you, but you want to try adding some stuff in, might take a bit of work. Like you probably would have to hit level 38 in Pokemon Go. Hopefully you've already played along the way where you're close to it. Or wait until Pikmin Bloom introduces this feature as well. But try to nominate or suggest any new location, like say any public art, like a museum building, like a local unique kind of restaurant, maybe like a family-owned restaurant. What else? Historical sites, cultural sites. You can suggest anything like this. It goes into then a review process of other players of Niantic's games, and they may approve it to become a certified way spot in Niantic's map database. Then it's just up to random chance, usually, if that way spot makes its way into whichever game, Pikmin Bloom, let's say, for example. And that is how you can make Pokestops, flowers, mushrooms, what have you, in various games here that Niantic puts out. So, as I said, right now there's no way to do it in Pikmin Bloom just yet, but if you want to go to, what's the website? Wayfarer, Wayfarer. You know what, I'm just going to copy it in there. It's wayfarer.nianticlabs.com. I'll paste this in the chat. If you want to check this out for more information, because I don't know exactly, everything about the way spot system, you should get some more information by checking that out if you like to. Jen AB says electrical boxes with art on them are a great option as well. Yes, I've seen quite a few of those myself. They've added a lot more art on the boxes in my city in the past month. You know what? Way up the way, like see where my yellow flowers kind of stop just before this, the big seedlings there, the big sprouts, there's an electrical box up there that I have said if somebody wants to come paint a nice little mural on it there, I'd nominate it for a new Pokestop or a flower or whatever. But no one's done it yet. I might have to. But I want to find out the rules of, like, would that be considered vandalism? I'm sure you'd have to get it approved or something like that. Frank says, nobody plays Pikmin Bloom near me, RIP. I think it's still on the verge of growing, and we're going to talk about what could help it grow during this stream. Now, that's what I've got to say about way spots. Hopefully that's informative enough for you there. Before we get to what I want to add in, or what I'd like to see them add in, we're going to talk about the upcoming Community Day. Let me go to my Pikmin Bloom site. I don't think there's anything on the site yet that gives us details yet, but we do want to talk about something from on the website. Okay, so there's nothing new on the website about it just yet, but if you want to go to any of their social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, would it be on their site right now? I just checked the site, I didn't notice, but check out anything there, and if you have not yet seen the video promoting this next upcoming Community Day, in fact, I'm going to have to find that video myself because I don't know when it is. Hang on. I'm sure somebody in the chat could help me out here. I think it said the 18th. Okay, where is it here? Pikmin Bloom. How did I hit... What is that? The square bracket, the thingy, instead of P. But, I mean, it worked out. Alright, let's go to... Where is... Pikmin Bloom, where is your channel? Forget this, I'm going to Twitter then. I'm going to find them up on Twitter. I follow them there. Man, I'm so prepared for all this stuff I'm trying to be informative about and whatevers. Okay. I should go back to the chat and see if somebody already helped me out. Okay, Pikmin Bloom fall. Let's see. They're talking right now too about at level 15 is when you get mushroom challenges. If anyone wasn't sure. Where is? You would have posted your own video, wouldn't you? Right here. And after all that, I can confirm indeed that it is December 28th. Which I already said, and I could have just rolled with that. So December 28th, the next Pikmin Bloom Community Day is coming up. So, if you watch the gameplay trailer, the promotional video for it, not much different really to see, you know, everything seems kind of similar to the last one, but at the end, a new kind of big flower is seen blooming, and I think people have told me, I don't know plants, they didn't tell me that, I already know that, but they told me it's like a poinsettia, or poinsettia, however you pronounce it, but it looks like a new kind of flower to bloom, possibly new nectar to pick up from it, new petals to, you know, get off of your Pikmin. So that can be a thing. And who knows what else they may surprise us with. So that's something to look forward to. Let me see what else is going on in the chat. Galaxy Bumper is asking, I want to know what the level cap is of Pikmin Bloom. Some people say level 100, others say level 60. That I don't have any clue about. I haven't looked into that myself just yet. I'm just enjoying going at my own pace, basically. Although, as some people are saying, wow, you're flying. And I'm like, all right. Mostly because I'm trying to learn more that I can share with everybody out there. Jen says, time to get your paintbrushes, Chaz. Bring out your inner artist. Well, I am a bit of an artiste. I don't have them uploaded. But I can hype up my website, dotman.ca. If you want to go check that out, I got there's actually a comic book series that I've worked on. Actually, if you're on Facebook, look up Dotman Comics. Check out everything. I think I've got everything uploaded on there. It's been forever since I've used Facebook, but I think it should still be there. But that is something I want to eventually bring to the channel, is my own original cartoon comic book content stuff. We'll get to that eventually, I'm sure. Oh, Jen is following me on Twitter. Thank you very much. Neophyte says, it seems that each city has their own program for authorizing the application of artwork to utility boxes. Yeah, I don't know if we have any in my city. I know some telephone poles, though, in the northern part of town. They have multiple murals. Not really murals. Would you call them murals? I don't know. Art installations that are kept up every year, every summer. So there is some form of artwork at least being done out there. All right, now, Community Day, as I said, is coming up December 18th, and we don't know yet any more details, but as time goes on, I'm sure they'll tell us more stuff on the website. So that's all there is to say about that for now. So that is Community Day. Okay, so now let's talk about what we want to see in the future of Pikmin Bloom. If you folks have ideas, feel free to shout them out there. Where is... I had a list done up. There it is. Okay. So, and I got some little visuals that I can kind of showcase here too. Let's get my Pikmin back on screen, just so we can see them doing something. Alright. Now, first and foremost, I don't think anyone would disagree when I say we want these guys added to the game. Now, not just these guys, these creatures. We want some of the enemies from the Pikmin series somehow represented in Pikmin Bloom. You know, my thought is, can I actually go to them? Like, I have a breakdown. Get out of my face! I have a breakdown of what I think they could do with this. So let me open up the map again here. So in Pokemon Go, and I'm assuming similar to the way spots, Niantic probably has these like, they have specific coordinates like latitude, longitude, where is it longitude? Where Pokemon spawn. Like, for example, I always have a Pokemon spawn just like, say, just beyond this plum that you see here, or by the second blue flower. Oh, a blue challenge! Normal, cool. So we have spawn locations for Pokemon. I feel like, let me just shrink you down a bit here, dude. My little guinea pig. I feel like they could have like spawn locations for enemies. Maybe a little bit more rare than Pokemon, but if you walk around this area, for example, you could suddenly have... I would think for smaller enemies this would make sense. Like, say, a dwarf Bulborb. It's right there. One thought I had too, though, you know how, like, the enemies don't necessarily just stand around in the Pikmin series? And if you don't know about that, I'll be showing you some stuff about that in the future here on the channel, so just hold on for that. But if, say... Can you see my mouse? I don't know if you can see my mouse. You can't. Oh, well. Anyway, what I think would be cool is if, say, this is one spawn location in Niantic's database here for Pokemon, and say this one is as well. What I think would be kind of cool would be if they could patrol back and forth between one or two, or well, two or maybe more way spots or coordinates for spawns. And if you happen to cross paths with it, you know, enter into some sort of encounter, some sort of battle or something like that. And like, because I was thinking in the main series, you're throwing Pikmin at the enemies to try to, like, you know, kill them and get your rewards. And they already have a throwing mechanic built into Pokemon Go, which they could easily, I'm sure, incorporate into Pikmin Bloom. Go into like a battle screen. AR Plus mode, for example, a bonus with that could be you could somehow sneak around behind the monsters, the creatures, and throw from there for a little bonus. So, like, enemies are... They're coming. They have to, because that's part of the main thing about the Pikmin series. So, in addition to that, I'm thinking, what if, like, for example, I said the Carlton 1890, that's right in the middle here of the screen, it doesn't exist as anything yet in Pikmin Bloom. What if that could be, like, a giant enemy location? You know, a sleeping Bulborb, for example, could be here throughout the day, and if I go too close to it, like, it could have a radius around it like the flowers do, and if you go into its radius, maybe it wakes up and you have to battle it. So that would add a cool stealth mode aspect to this. One thought I had back in the day was Dragon Ball Z would make a pretty interesting AR game like this, where you could have the radar to try to find the Dragon Balls in your city, but say like the Saiyans, Vegeta and Nappa could be, like, you know, flying around, like on patrol paths, and you have to sneak through the city away from their paths to try to get to the items and stuff. This could be the same kind of thing. Maybe monsters could patrol or set a base, and you have to, like, do stealth to avoid them. And another stealth idea I have I'll talk about in a little bit. But anyway, let's set you over here, dude, in case we need to use you again for a visual representation. What would you folks think about the addition of monsters and creatures into Pikmin Bloom? Because I feel like it's coming, and I'll explain a little more in detail why I think that is. Let's see. Aloha Seattle 8 says, bus stop shelters or Pokestops here in your neighborhood. We have a couple like that actually here. Not many, but I think they come in conjunction with the fact that there's an art mural near them in some places. So those have been nominated as Pokestops. Jen says, you really like to see easier accessibility to roses and tulips for upcoming community days. That could be a thing indeed. Like, maybe at some point they will lower the level required to access them, perhaps. Hello to Muffin Adventure, welcome, and welcome back to Pokemon Guy. Thanks for jumping into the stream again now that it's not dying. It might die again. Let's hope for the best, though. Let's see, Jen's asking, kind of like rocket battles in Pokemon Go. Maybe, like, I would really like to see the physical throwing mechanic used instead of just trying to catch Pokemon. Use it to attack the monsters. Because in the main series, if you could land like a direct hit, like say the monster is here, and your Pikmin lands directly on a smaller creature, you can kill them in one hit. So if you could somehow get that to happen in Pikmin Bloom, that could be a bonus as well. But I don't know, like that's beyond what I would know how to code and stuff like that. And Willem Cosson says, I don't want monsters hurting my Pikmin. And Renee Medina says, I dig it, but I assume the Pikmin eaten would be lost forever? This is the next thing I want to talk about. This may be an unpopular opinion, but hear me out on this. What I want to see in Pikmin Bloom is Pikmin dying. In a way, in a sense. Now, if anyone, I'm just going to put it over here on the map screen so it stands out more. Okay, so hear me out on this. In the main series of Pikmin, it's almost a given that some Pikmin will be lost in the line of battle, and they're gone. But, if your Pikmin was in the flower stage in battle, in Pikmin and Pikmin 2, and probably Pikmin 3, if they had the flower and they did get eaten, there was a chance that they would leave a seed behind, which would then sprout the next day, and you could go pluck them out, in a way preserving them to continue on, you know, fresh from the ground. So, what I could see them doing is incorporating a Pikmin dying in this sense, to say that no matter what stage its flower is in, maybe it's still just a leaf or a bud, if a Pikmin does get, let's not even just say eaten, but lost in some form, because there might be hazards, for example, maybe they revert back to a seedling, and you can then walk them again, regrow them, and pluck them out. One thought I had, though, was maybe have it that you need to get a certain item to, like a revival spray or something, that initially when you pick them up again, they would be step locked. You know, you can't just walk them and then grow them again. Maybe have some sort of potion you got to use on them to remove the step lock, then you can start walking them again. That might be getting too complicated, but that's just one of the thoughts that I had. But that could be a cool way to you know, incorporate, like, so like if you use a whole team of super strong Pikmin against something and you lose half of them, that limits you until you can bring them all back. So you might not be able to do these Bulborb challenges as often as you would like to do. Now, as far as like Pikmin dying, I don't want them gone forever. You know, I'm not that mean, but Pikmin being eaten has always been part of the series, and I would like somehow to have that represented in Pikmin Bloom. Now, as I said, that might not be the most popular opinion, but it is my opinion, and we'll just leave it at that. But again, I don't want them gone forever. Like, if you put all this work into best friending a whole squad of Pikmin, it's like, it would really take away part of the fun, where it's like, I gotta do that all over again. Like, it would just feel too much of a chore, too much grinding. But if you're planting flowers along the way anyway, you can still walk them from their new seedling back into a Pikmin. So, well, that's what I say about that. What do you folks think? I'm going to read up on some of the chat here now. Okay, Jen says, you're level 35, you still haven't been able to bloom roses or tulips. You should be able to bloom roses by now. I've done it by planting pansies around the big flowers, and rarely, I shouldn't say rarely, I've had like a 1 in 4 chance of blooming up a rose instead of pansies. In fact, using just the standard blue petals today, 3 became the standard blue flower, but 1 did become a pansy. So that's a 1 in 4 shot there myself. So you must have just been getting really, really unfortunate luck. But just keep at it. Roses should be able to bloom. I myself haven't gotten tulips yet either, so I don't know what level that will ever be, if it's possible. But hopefully we'll get there. Varian says, is there a map website for Pikmin Bloom yet? There's the Pokestop map and Ingress map, but it would be nice to know what's a mushroom and what's a sprout. I don't know if there is or not myself. I haven't looked into that, but feel free to do like a Google search, see if that is a possibility. The reason I was talking about the way spots earlier is that, you know, some people, much like in Pokemon Go, they found there's nothing around my house. I live out in like would be like the suburbs or whatever. I live in the country. There's like nothing around me. That does kind of hurt the playing possibilities of games like this. So that's why I was mentioning how to nominate new Pokestops and flowers and such. And I do hope they bring that into Pikmin Bloom at some point, because maybe someone doesn't want to, like, if you're really into Pikmin Bloom and you haven't played Pokemon Go, getting to level 38 in Pokemon Go just to nominate new spots would be pretty difficult and take a long time, especially if you already have nothing to work with in your area. So hopefully Pikmin Bloom will bring something like that nomination aspect in eventually. Let's see. Steven Turquoise says, I want to ask you, what would you like in the game? You'd like more decor Pikmin, Bulborbs, and it'd be awesome if there was more medals in the game. Pretty much, yeah, I'd be down with all that. Like, and not just the Bulborbs. I want other creatures, and I'll talk about some more ideas I've got on that, which, again, just for the record, I don't have any influence on what gets added to the game. I'm just a player myself, an end user, but hopefully maybe Niantic is watching this somehow, and they can use this for some ideas from what we're all talking about. Kind of like high hopes, but you never know. Let's see. Andy says, we recycle Pokemon. I could see the same for Pikmin. Jen says, Chaz wants Pikmin death. I want Pikmin, let's call it injury. That's what I use when I'm doing a Nuzlocke on my channel. It's like, oh, my Pokemon aren't dead. They're just injured, and we got to put them away for the day till the next series happens up. So let's call it Pikmin injury. Temporary death. But, let's see. Aloha Seattle 8 says, you don't want to lose your rare decor Pikmins. And that's the other thing, too. Maybe if they already have their decor, when they do revert back to a seedling and re-sprout, maybe they've already got their decor item, much like from a huge seedling. Or maybe they even revert into a huge seedling, and then they'll have their item right away anyways. That could be a possibility. Varen says, what if the Pikmin just turn back into a type of seedling that needs rewalked for like half the distance? That could be a thing too. Like there's so many things that they could do if they incorporate Pikmin injury, let's say, to bring them back. So who knows? There's many possibilities that can make this work. Hello to Foxel. Thanks for joining in on our stream today. We're talking about some ideas we'd like to see for the future of Pikmin Bloom. A couple things I'll talk about that I have looked into. There's been some slight data mining, which I'm not going to talk about yet. I am going to give you as a warning if you don't want to know this stuff. But we'll get to that. I'm sure Foxel's pretty much in the know on most of this stuff, if not all of it. Galaxy Bumper says, I want a Pikmin amiibo now as soon as possible. Hopefully they're coming, maybe. I don't know. Do they? So I would assume they have an Olimar amiibo from Smash Brothers, but they're not individual Pikmin, are they? I wouldn't think. Hello to Anne-Marie Hedgehog. Welcome to our stream, talking about some Pikmin bloomage. Jen says, you haven't been lucky. You've been planting pansies around the buds. Keep trying, though. Yes, indeed. And if your pansy does start running low, your pansy petals start running low, you only need to plant about 160 of the pansy petals. And Foxel is back as a member once again. You were a member before, I believe. Yes, you were, because you already have a Charmeleon hat. So I like how the YouTube membership system, it remembers your previous time spent. So you're one step up already. Thanks for rejoining. Greatly appreciated. What was I talking about? Yeah, so you don't need to spend all 300 pansies around a big sprout. You only need to do the majority. So 160, for example, and the other 140 could be anything. I always recommend, though, just out of superstition, worry-wartness, let's call it, that I want the last flowers that I plant around a big sprout to be the flower I want to bloom it into. So I'll go I usually recommend, say, 100 of what I want, 100 whatever other petals to fill in the gap, and then the last one another 100. And generally that seems to work for me. I'll get the flower that I'm trying to bloom up. So hopefully that will work as well for you. Let's see. Philly X20, you have far too many sticker Pikmin, so death doesn't bother me. And that's the other thing too. Like, I was thinking, I have so many sticker Pikmin as well. If I happen to lose some of them, I'd probably be okay with it. Terrible thing for me to say, but I mean, we all have a lot of stickers, I'm sure. We could be okay without some of them. Renee says, you've added Pokestops and they become blooms or mushrooms. There you go. It can be done. Because it goes into Niantic's Waste Spot database, and then it might not even appear in Pokemon Go, but it could appear in Pikmin Bloom. So that does prove that it can happen too. What else? Nerdy Boy, what was that? Not nerdy, sorry, Nerfy Boy 6. There's dust on my screen, it messed up what I was looking at. I think an aspect of limited tasks, like limited research in Pokemon Go, could be cool. Yeah, I want to have daily mini tasks to do as well. That would be fun, indeed. Stuff maybe plant X number of red flowers or something like that, or pluck a gray Pikmin. Something that maybe you couldn't do immediately, but you got to really work to get. In that case, I could see me saving up at least one of each color seedling to use for planting later on. Let's see. Frank Diego says, if Pikmin were to die, I think it should be time-based for them to be revived, like 1 hour, so it doesn't take slots for the new ones. That could be, yeah, a time-based thing too. Like, they need time to recover and recuperate before they can actually start growing back, be walked again. Let's see. Anne-Marie just transformed Hoopa into its unbound form. I did that the other day, and that's going to be part of the next Pokemon Go video, so we'll stay tuned for that to happen. Foxel says, first of all, Azul Cielo or Cielo, says hello. I want to say hello back to you. Thanks for joining in on our stream. Foxwell says, you hope the battles are in AR. I said, yeah, I hope that I can kind of sneak around behind them with that. And stuff like Minecraft Earth. Now that I don't know what you're talking about. I know Minecraft, but I don't know many aspects of it. But I'll take your word for it that it'd probably be cool. Susan says, if you contribute to blooming a big flower, but someone else finishes it, you seem to get nothing. Interestingly enough, I saw the other day, I went near a big flower that was, well, it was not a flower yet. It was 30 flowers away from blooming, and I thought, I'll finish that up. I'll get something. So I planted the last 30 flowers needed. It bloomed. I got nothing. So I don't exactly know how that works. I've heard someone in my comments, though, say that him and someone else, they were walking around the big blooms, and they both were able to get the fruit from it. So I don't know how it works exactly. Foxwell says that they are going to add battles of some sort. Interesting. Frank says you can also use coins to revive instantly, like 10 coins, maybe. Okay, I'm going to throw one more thing on the screen here. I've got a few others to talk about, but if you're not familiar with the main series, in Pikmin 2, they introduced the concept of sprays. And this is a big spray bottle here. There was a couple sprays they had. There was the ultra spicy spray, which is what this is here. Using that would, limited time, boost your Pikmin so they were, I think they were faster, but also they did a lot more damage when battling. There was also a purple one, the ultra bitter spray, which would turn enemies to stone for like 5 seconds, which didn't sound like much, but if you have a whole squad of 100 Pikmin and they're frozen for 5 seconds, and the enemy's frozen, I should say, and your Pikmin are swarming it, you can destroy them really fast. So, as far as the sprays go, they're created by finding certain berries in Pikmin 2, and if you get 10 berries, you could make 1 dose of spray. So they could introduce a type of berry that your Pikmin find as you walk around, because they already find a bunch for us. Or even maybe some of the nectar could be done for that as well. Convert, like, say, 10 nectar units of each color could become a spray. But as far as I was talking about Pikmin being eaten or whatever and then reviving, they could make a revival spray where you find the certain berries, you have this, you can spray on the Pikmin seed, and then you can start to walk it to come back. They could also, because this could be a way for Niantic to make a little bit more coins, they could sell the spray in the shop, you know, because they always want to try to get some way of, like, so if someone does a bunch of battles and they need to regrow their whole squad, they could just send us some coins, pick up a spray. So I think including sprays in the game could definitely be a thing, especially if battles are going to be added at some point in the future. But yeah, a revival spray was just one thought I had, was like, I feel like if a Pikmin does get eaten or defeated in one way or another and they revert back to a seed, there should be something extra that you have to do to be able to get them back. So you can't just go all willy-nilly, let them get devoured, and then just be like, they'll be back the next day. There should be some more extra work you got to do to try to, like, you know, be more strategic with when you're doing your challenges or your battles, so that you don't lose Pikmin all willy-nilly, as I say. So sprays could be a nice thing they can add in as well. Okay, let's see what else. By the way, I did see Jen AB has dropped the friend code for Pokemon Go, actually. Anybody that wants to drop friend codes here in the chat, you're more than welcome to. While I ramble on, you can drop your Pikmin Bloom code or your Pokemon Go code, whichever you do. Or if anyone plays Ingress. I don't, but you can drop your Ingress code. If that's... Is that how that works? Again, I didn't play it because I don't even know how you drop your codes there. Magnus says, you've been playing the game a lot. You're at level 33. You feel like the game gets boring because it's kind of repetitive. Do you think they'll add more stuff to the game and more to do soon? I hope so. So, me personally, I'm the kind of guy that I like routine stuff, mundane stuff. I have no problem continuing playing the game as it is, but I love new additions. So, as I'm saying, having Pikmin get beaten, let's say, okay, let's just say dead, having Pikmin die in some form, adding monsters, adding these sprays, those are all things that would be new, and I would be excited to try them out. And there's some other things I want to talk about too. Let's see. Variant says, if they grow back automatically, they could have the same cooldown after defeating a mushroom. Your Pikmin needs time to recover, try again tomorrow. So it could be like maybe a 24-hour countdown before you can, you know, walk them, for example. Foxhole says, if a Pikmin dies in battle, you think it's just going to lose the leaf, like when you feed it too much nectar. Well, in the main series, they could lose their flower or their bud during battle just by getting knocked around by the enemy, not necessarily being eaten. What happened in the main game, you're probably aware of this, but in case anyone's not, I'll just spell it out. If a Pikmin with a flower was defeated in battle, sometimes the next day you would see that there was a seed left behind, sprouted. So it actually like continued itself onward as a new copy of itself, kind of thing. So that's why I feel like if a Pikmin gets eaten, it shouldn't just revert to a leaf. You know, something more drastic should happen. Personally, is what I think. Let's see. Unknown Spike asking, will I do any more Pokemon TCG live stream? That I have to wait on, because apparently a new kind of TCG online is coming. I forget what it's called. I think it's just called Pokemon TCG Live. So I gotta look into that and see when that's gonna happen, because I wouldn't want to start building up in TCG Online again, and only to have it get replaced shortly after. So that's on hold for the time being, let's say. Oren says, I hope that we get something like onions and pellets to make it so we can get more Pikmin we already have. Okay, another thing I want to talk about, the creatures. When we defeat them, we should get maybe pellets, but since we don't have an onion to bring them to like in the main game, maybe they could even just drop seedlings and just cut out the whole pellet aspect altogether. And another thing I would like to see them drop, I guess, does it sound kind of gruesome to say I want their remains to be useful in another way? They should become almost like fertilizer or like mulch or something. Like, I'm gonna say mulch because that's like from Pokemon the series there. So you should possibly maybe get some sort of a mulch that you can put around a big sprout before you start planting flowers, or I guess before it blooms. Mulch that will do maybe different things. Like right now we can only bloom red, blue, yellow, and white big flowers, but wouldn't it be cool if you could plant a mixture of, like, say, blue and yellow flowers around something, and mulch could let them grow into like a green flower? Or same thing with like red and white, you can maybe get a pink flower to bloom. That would make things look a lot more colorful. So, you know, some sort of way to affect the big blooms, and maybe that would provide you 2 fruit, one for each color of flower that was planted. Yeah, like compost, right, Neophyte? That's a better way to put it. Just the remains of the enemy could become compost or something that you then can influence the big flowers even more. So that, you know, I'd like to see something like that added as far as the enemies go. Anne-Marie says, so if Pikmin die, it reincarnates into another Pikmin. Basically, and I mean, it would be kind of cool if this does come to be, that your Pikmin, each individual Pikmin has like a rebirth counter or something like that. Or I even thought too, you know how, let me get my Pikmin back on screen here. I'm gonna grab, can I grab you, Mocha? Nah, I got Platter. So Platter has 4 hearts of friendship. Just for the aspect of making it not unlimited, what if every time that they do take a hit, you know, they get dead and then have to regrow again, what if one of their hearts gets grayed out or something, and they only have a limit of 4 times they can come back? The 5th time, that's their last life. You want to keep them safe after that. That would be interesting. And that would also mean any Pikmin that you just planted or just grew and they don't even have a full heart yet, if they get eaten once, that whole heart gets grayed out, they have no red hearts anymore, and they'd be gone. So that would be an interesting thing, maybe, if they go so far as to include Pikmin getting eaten and stuff, I guess. Jen says, mulch makes sense, something to recycle the Pikmin in some way that's usable. No, I'm talking about the enemies. Like, say the Bulborb can provide some sort of, maybe a treasure. We're going to talk about some treasure possibilities. But if say, like, the Bulborb's body, whatever they can't use to create seedlings, that could leave mulch or something. I don't know. And maybe the Pikmin could, too. Who knows? Looks like Christian, if I'm saying that right. Aloha Seattle says, too much color mixing equals a brown flower. I don't know. Maybe. If you don't try to like even them out nicely enough, you just get like it's almost like in Breath of the Wild where you can get like, I forget what it's called. It's just a mixture of goop that you eat, and I guess it heals you. Or did it hurt you? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, if you're not careful with your mixtures, maybe there's like a downside to it. But Christian's saying, do you know of any way to avoid getting roadside Pikmin and get more diverse decors? I feel like I'm the only one. I'm only getting stickers for your decor Pikmin. Well, if anybody in the chat wants to mention the photo trick using the life log, feel free to do that, because I don't know much about that myself. I know of it, but my suggestion would be, as you walk around your area, like wherever it's safe for you to go, open your detector every once in a while and see what it says for places nearby. For me, right here, it shows a park bench, so if I was to use the detector and spawn a seedling, I might get a park bench seedling. So, and the further you go, the more places there are, you might see more location tags like that. Like I've said earlier in the stream, if I go up the street, I get a cafe, a restaurant, mini mart, hair salon, and like I said, just check it every once in a while, see what locations are nearby, and maybe just fire it up. See if some seedlings will spawn for you. Because you never know what stuff in your area might be read as not just a roadside. Who knows? Like, for example, 2 blocks up the street here, we have a church which was going to be made into a restaurant, and I don't think that's happening anymore, but it still reads as a restaurant. So, that's a possibility. Alright, so what else do I want to mention as far as what I'd like to see added? So, where is my little list of pictures here? I think next let's talk about... So, I said about you can possibly maybe get some sort of treasures or something from defeating the enemies, like the Bulborbs. I'm going to throw this picture in here next. If you're unfamiliar with this from Pikmin 1, this is the Whimsical Radar, which allows you to get, you can start seeing where other things are on the map that you need to get in the game, other parts to the spaceship. And as you get certain items throughout both Pikmin and Pikmin 2, it increases the capabilities of your detector, your range, or whatever. So, what I'd like to see is enemies possibly dropping treasures like this. Now, what I mean, I want to see possibly an upgrade to the in-game detector where it can find more things than just what we've been seeing so far. And instead of just saying, oh, suddenly the detector can now find extra stuff just because we want it to, maybe make it that you have to defeat some enemies to get pieces to upgrade your detector to like a detector 2.0. And one of the things I'd like to see it be able to find, cancel out of that, is something from Pikmin 2. Anyone familiar with what this is? I know it looks all blurry and stuff. I try to choose decent pictures for my demonstrations here. But in Pikmin 2, in each area you could land in, there would be certain holes you could jump into. And these led into like mazes down below, where you have to go through like various hazards and stuff. So I'd like to see the detector 2.0 to be able to find buried things underground. Like, oh, I sense movement. I don't know if it would maybe spawn randomly, like maybe the seedlings spawn when you use a regular detector. But let's say, it's going to use this up here for just a visual. Let's say this detector 2.0, if it was a thing, appears here on my map. So I would then have to walk up to it and interact with it. Like, maybe I have to like dig it open, and you could find stuff in there, like maybe more items for, I don't know, would you get more items for another radar? Probably not. Or maybe you could, and the detector 2.0 breaks after every use, so you gotta rebuild your pieces again. But they could incorporate the underground areas from Pikmin 2 as little mini-game mazes or something. You know, that could be a thing where you gotta choose certain Pikmin to go in, send your water Pikmin over this way to break a hazard that maybe your yellow Pikmin can come through now, get past an electric barrier. Who knows? They could have something like that. But the real reason I want this to be a thing is if it detects something where that hole is on my map, and I want to walk up to it, maybe there's simply a piece of fruit buried or a treasure or something. But I also want to have a moment where you walk up to a place where the detector says like, oh, I sense something here. And as soon as you get in range, a burrowing snagret comes up out of the ground, and then you have to fight it. That would be awesome, because like I've said before, I want creatures in the game. That would be a perfect way to introduce burrowing snagrets, to be like, you know, you're hoping for treasure or a fruit or something, and then a giant bird snake comes after you. I would like that. All right. And that's what I have to say about that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about as far as things being added into the game. It's going to relate to the coin system. And I'm so far behind the chat. Before I get to that, let me just get caught up on the chat. I think someone said that they're heading out. Jen AB is headed off to Costco on a Saturday. Ooh, a Christmas season Saturday. Best of luck. It's going to be quite a time. Alright, and feel free to come back, check out the rest of the stream when you're back if you want to. Okay, so, let's see. Where are we at? Nintendo1 Gaming says, only in Pikmin 1 if you're texted, not come. Talking about maybe the radar, perhaps? Can't recall. Oh, Frank says, what if you can grow an enemy like a Venus flytrap instead of a big flower to fight? Yeah, that would be interesting. Like, you could intentionally create a creature to try to get rewards from it. Maybe. Maybe that could be like maybe different kinds of mulch could be collected, you know, and used in various ways. So that's a good idea. Let's see. Anne Marie says, I like when you blow the whistle, the Pikmin comes back to you like soldiers. Yeah, they just like stand at attention. That's cool. Etendo says, I am a Pikmin veteran, so you have all the games and you know almost everything. Did you get Louis' secret, what was it, Louis' Dark Secret in Pikmin 2? That's quite a feat to accomplish. I got that. Not that I'm trying to, you know, brag or nothing, but if you know a lot about Pikmin, hopefully you know some good things that could be added into Pikmin Bloom that would add more life to the game. Aloha says, Pikmin Bloom is the only mobile game you play with music and sound on. I usually have it on too. I find the music nice and quiet and soothing. Like, I'll still usually have my own soundtracks playing, but I usually don't turn off the music in this, and I just let the other soundtrack play over top, but I still hear like the occasional Pikmin Bloom tune. Alright, well, let's see. Pikmin 2 did have the caves indeed. CT Payung, hello, Professor Chaz. You're not playing this game, but you want a shout out. Well, hello. We are lucky friends in Pokemon. Awesome, right? Indeed. The only downside, of course, we're going to be local to trade to make really good use of that, but that's the problem with, like, you know, international friends and stuff. We're not always guaranteed to be able to meet up. And Frank says, and what if Olimar comes by here and they're asking to bring some materials? He'll reward you. That's kind of another thing I want to talk about as well. Some of the other characters from the Pikmin series showing up. Okay, where else are we at? Gerard Monson, thank you for letting your community tab be a general discussion place. Not a problem. Like, that's you know, since Pikmin Bloom took off on the channel so much, it's like, I want this to be the place to go, to hang out and talk about what we got going on and stuff as a team, as a collective collection, right? Community, that's the word I'm trying to think of. Etendo is asking, how do you get coins anyway? So as of right now, there are two ways of getting coins. One is the most guaranteed way of going to your shop and buying them for real money, which not everyone wants to do, but by walking around planting flowers as you walk, every 500 flowers that you plant will earn you a coin. I believe you can get up to 30 coins a day, but someone did the math, and like that's what, 15,000 flowers planted, and that is a lot of walking. So I don't know if I would recommend that every day. It's probably healthy for you, but maybe too healthy, rounding back into unhealthy. But anyways, that is the main way to get your coins. I've always said if you are walking and then you check your progress and you're at, like, say 850 flowers planted, just try walking a little bit more to get up over 1,000, and that way you'll get 2 coins. Just try to push yourself a little bit, just so that the other 350 flowers that you had already planted just don't go to waste, right? So, as of right now, that is the only way to get coins other than buying them, but that leads me to the last thing I want to see added to Pikmin Bloom, at least for the time being, and that is going to be an alarm going off. No. That is just letting me know that my Goomy in Pokemon Go needs to be fed. I'll feed him later. Alright, this is one example of a treasure. Normally, like, you wouldn't see this too much in... Where do I put this to make it look... There. That's good enough. So, you didn't really see this too much in Pikmin 1, because you're finding spaceship pieces to save your own life as Captain Olimar. But in Pikmin 2, the plot is they go back to Earth to try to get as many treasures as they can, because their company has gone bankrupt, and they need money. So, part of my idea, like defeating a Bulborb, for example, or any other creature, they might spit out a treasure. Using that detector 2.0, I'm suggesting maybe they find an underground treasure, or maybe they find one of those holes that leads to a treasure, and you got to do a little maze mini game. But either way, I would like to see some forms of treasures added to Pikmin Bloom. Let's put you right on the hole, and they could be exchanged for coins. Now, I don't know if anybody is watching here from Australia and you play Pokemon Go. But if you do, and can you confirm for me? I think at one point Niantic was testing a thing down in Australia about changing the way you get coins in Pokemon Go. So normally you get coins by holding gyms, defending gyms. For every 10 minutes of your Pokemon defending a gym, when they get knocked out and come back to you, you can get a coin. But that's a max of 50 per day. They changed it a little bit, I think, temporarily in Australia to say, so you can get, I think it was like 30 coins or 20 coins from that, but now your first catch of the day gets you certain coins, taking a photo can get you coins, and they made new ways of getting your coins. So right now, as someone has said, I believe we're limited to 30 coins a day in Pikmin Bloom, but what if they added treasures that could get us another, say, 20 coins per day? Maybe have like a cap on that as well, and you could get the treasures by the detector 2.0, finding them buried, going into these holes, these caves or something, and there could be any number of ways you can get treasures. Maybe what if you could even grow like a treasure flower, right? Something like it just blooms into a treasure. Anyway, treasures could be a way to add in, or could be something to add into the game to add more ways to get your coins. That could be a thing. Because, I mean, I don't know how many people are going to hit their 30 coins per max every single day. I could see me doing it once and then being laid out flat for the next couple days to recover. So, I don't know. But, let's see what you folks think of that as I go back in the chat here. Ezekiel says there could be some sort of like a planting or a digging challenge, maybe. Like, yeah, kind of like the mushrooms. Maybe the faster you dig something up, the better reward you get for it. You know, that could be a thing. So the more Pikmin you have, the better. And I'd like to see them incorporate the fact that in Pikmin 2, one of the white Pikmin's features was that they are the fastest diggers. I think they made yellows do that in Pikmin 3, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, you could have some Pikmin dedicated as better diggers than others. Like, let me just bring up my list of the mushroom challenges again. Where is that? I don't know. I think I found it. Yo. Hey. So I did show this earlier. Everything else is blocking it now. But I'm making a list of which Pikmin are best for which challenges against the mushrooms. It's like, surprisingly, I usually go for purple as my backup, but against blue mushrooms, blue's the best. Rocks are better than purples in that case. So they could have some sort of, like you say, a digging challenge where is this right here? Where certain Pikmin are better at the digging. Okay, where else are we at? Aloha Seattle says, you went to Costco yesterday because you needed to plant 8,000 flowers and do some shopping. You have less than 3,000 left to plant. Well, that's a good, definitely, that's like over half. That's a good start for sure. Anne Marie says, you're okay playing Pikmin Bloom on Nintendo Switch. You got the demo version of it. Oh, wait. Is Bloom going to be on the Switch? I mean, I guess, yeah, the Switch is going to be portable. It is portable. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. Neophyte says, I'd like it if there were creatures that could be ridden to distant areas from the player's current location. How could they incorporate that, I wonder? Maybe not even creatures, but like if you, maybe as far as the treasures go, you could find ship pieces and make a ship. Or maybe you need an airport Pikmin with the plane and they could fly. You know, that could be a way. I don't know. Let's see. What else is there? Nintendo asking, is that the Heart and Pikmin 2 in the Spider World or whatever? I'm not sure where you get this, but it is that. I'm pretty sure that's one of the Pikmin 2 treasures. I don't remember this in Pikmin 1. There was only a few gem-like things in Pikmin 1, and I think there were was it the Libra and the Sagittarius that his son and daughter gave him. Let's see. Aloha says, 500 planting in one section equals 1 coin. Yeah, don't stop the progress midway or you lose progress. Yeah, don't stop planting midway. So, I'll just show this quickly here. So, if I was to start planting, let's just say, white pansy petals. Yeah. I can kind of plant them a little bit in my area just without even moving. But since I'm at 12 flowers, if I want to switch and not lose progress, I can switch right in here. Don't hit stop. Just choose a new petal and go back to your screen. Since I'm not moving, we're not going to see any more plant. But that's how you could switch a different kind of, or switch to a different petal and not lose your overall progress. I used to stop each time to start a new plant, new flower, and I don't know why I didn't think to switch on the fly, because it is easy to do, and it was kind of a no-brainer when I looked back on it. So I planted 12 flowers. I got nothing for it. You got to plant 500 to get a coin. Alrighty. Let's see. Anne Marie says they're changing the way we have Pokeballs in Pokemon Go. I think they're just going to make sure that, much like last season, we're going to be getting more from our spins from Pokestops. They're just going to try to get us extra Pokeballs for the holiday season, from what I remember. Because it seems pretty similar to the last year when they did that. And P.Vo asking, can you please show us your badges? I'd just like to see the beta tester one. Well, interestingly enough, if I show you my badges, you will not see the beta tester one. Because I wasn't a beta tester. I didn't even know the game was coming out. I think I'd heard about it some time ago, but it just kind of dropped one day, and I'm like, I like Pikmin, I'll play it. So, yeah, I don't have that because I was not a beta tester. All that I have to say, I'm just throwing out there from stuff that I've experienced and picked up along the way, and things that I would like to see added in, incorporated in various ways. But I'm sure if you probably did like a search on maybe Twitter, Google, Instagram, someone might have the badge symbol for you if you want to take a look at it. I don't even know what it looks like either. Crazy Hunter Canal, or Cannel, or whatever. Tips to farm blue rose nectar? The only way that I can... Okay, so the only way I can suggest that guaranteed is to go around big flowers, of course, and plant your blue roses. Right now I've got 172 petals. If you don't have petals and you're short on the rose nectar, the only way right now you can do that is planting pansy, like blue pansy petals around the big flowers and hoping around a 1 in 4 chance in my experiences of the, instead of a pansy blooming, a rose will bloom. It will provide a fruit that gives you the blue rose nectar. So that is the only way at the moment to be able to get that stocked up. Like it. And I'm just going to say, too, if anybody's trying to get your white flower petals or nectar built up, I hope you're patient. I've found if you're trying to bloom white flowers, there seems to be a 50-50 chance that even though you only planted white petals around these flowers, these blooms, they're still going to come out as a color of some sort. Like, there was one day I did these 3 flowers over here, this one in my backyard, and the one up the street here that is centered. I got like 3 red roses and 2 yellows. I was only planting white rose petals. Ugh. So anyway, at this point, I've got over 150 of the white rose nectar, white rose petals. I ain't touching the white flowers for quite a while. But anyway, if you want to go ahead and do that, you are welcome to. Good luck. Where else are we at right now? Etendo says, yellow Pikmin are good diggers in Pikmin 3 and DX. I'm not sure about Hey Pikmin. I don't know anything about Hey Pikmin myself. When someone mentioned it, I was like, what is that? So that's one title in the series I've missed out on. Varian says, I can't wait for a flying Pikmin from the airport. That'd be cool. I gotta somehow find a way to get out to my own airport and just throw the detector out there. See what I can get. But it's so far away. I'm not walking that for sure. Let's see. Orindor asks, how do you get other types of flower? You only get the simple daisies and pansies, but you know there's roses and lilies. Okay, I've heard about lilies. Or was it lilies? I heard someone... No, I thought I heard someone talk about lotus flowers. And now we're saying lilies. So, the only ones that I know about for sure are like the simple, like the standard daisy-looking ones, pansies, and roses. And the way you can get some of those bigger flowers, or more rare flowers, I should say, by hitting certain levels in the game and trying to plant whatever you have. So, the very first pansy that I ever got in Pikmin Bloom, I forget what level I hit, but I was planting just blue standard petals, like the daisies around it, and from my experience, it seems like there's a 1 in 4 chance that you will bloom the next level of rarity of flower. So that's how I first obtained a pansy. Pansy nectar, though, can also be gotten by completing these challenges, these mushroom challenges. And as for the rose, I was level 19 when I was trying to get more blue pansy nectar. So, of course, planting blue pansies around my flowers, and one of them became a blue rose. So, just a matter of keep leveling up, keep trying to plant the most rare flower you currently have. You may manage to bloom the next step up, which will provide you your first batch of the nectar and petals that you will need to continue that. And that's, as far as I know, that's the only way to do up your rarities for your flowers. Let's see what else. And Marie says, you'd like to see something different when you go to a gym. We get gym badges from gym leaders in Pokemon Go. Maybe, I mean, they should bring the gym leaders in at some point. They brought in Team Rocket, and they have the gym leader models from the Let's Go games too. So when they had a special event going on at one point where there was going to be other trainers you could find at Pokestops, and I thought, are we going to find like Misty and Brock and stuff? And then we weren't. I was kind of disappointed. But someday they should put the gym leaders in, and we can get like enough wins, we can get their badge or something. That would be kind of cool. Itendo says Pikmin 3 was strangely your first Pikmin game. Not DX, you got it in 2018. And interestingly enough, similar-ish, I guess, or completely different to that, I've never played Pikmin 3. I've seen people play it. My nephew has it. I've never laid hands on it yet. Or no, technically I have, but only for a little bit. But maybe someday. And maybe on the channel. I don't know. We'll see. And Marie saying, if you had Blue Lotus and Pikmin Bloom and you wondered where the lotus flower came from, they're in Egypt. And someone had said something similar to that. Maybe eventually we'll have region-specific flowers. Like, okay, let's just say, for example, Lotus could be in, Egypt. But when something like that happens, if we do have guaranteed region-specific things, that's when I want to see the postcard system become more useful. I want to be able to send people stuff that maybe they can't get where they're at. Let's just say tulips, okay? Because something's up with the tulips. They were taken out of the shop. Maybe they're going to do something special with those in a little bit. But let's just say if tulips could only be grown in my area, North America, and I have a friend in... let's just say Japan, for example. I would like to be able to take a selection of, like, maybe you can bundle up 50 petals or something of what you have currently and attach that to your postcard and send that off. Because, as much as I'm building up my supplies here, I'm never going to burn through all of it. I'd like to give it to people who might not otherwise have access to it and just help that way. Because that way they could be the first person to grow tulips in Japan, and they could become like national stars. I don't know, probably not, but something like that would be interesting. Oren says you're level 29 now, and you haven't gotten any rose giving fruits, and that is the the unfortunate aspect of randomness, where maybe you just haven't been lucky enough yet to be able to get that. Or what if roses are only bloomable North America? Maybe they are region specific. I don't know. But, I mean, you would think that you would be able to bloom something else at the same level if there are region-specific flowers. So, I would just chalk that up to just unfortunate bad luck and just keep trying, keep dedicated, don't give up the fight. You might be able to get there eventually. Where else are we at? And Gerard, this is a good point if I read correctly. Make sure to only feed your blue rose nectar to Pikmin that are in the bud state. And I mentioned this way earlier in the stream. If your Pikmin is in a leaf state, you give them any nectar other than the standard nectar that will bloom them into a white flower. Even like just the yellow nectar, the red nectar. If you give a leaf Pikmin one of those nectars, they go immediately into the flower form. You can tap them and get a petal from them. But, as Gerard says, if you use a standard nectar to put them into the bud stage first, and I believe that's the only nectar that will turn them into a bud, the next nectar you give them will give you double the petals. So you could, give it another standard nectar for 2 white petals, but what you want to do is choose your rarest nectars, give them to the bud Pikmin, and you'll get 2 petals for 1 nectar. That is your best way to stock up on your petals and provide more petals for growing more of those flowers and getting more fruit that gives you additional nectar. It's like a vicious cycle, but you can manipulate that cycle to your benefit. Okay, where else are we at? Neophyte says, I seem to remember you saying that the stickers can be repositioned. Am I remembering wrong? Yes, you are. What I noticed was that there are a few different positions that Pikmin can have their sticker attached to them, but you don't get to choose that. It just depends on random chance, I think. Like my first roadside yellow Pikmin had it on its ear. I called him Pierce because it looked like a an earring piercing. But then the next one had it, I think maybe like on the chest or something like that. So you can't choose where it goes, but there are a few places that they can have the sticker attached to. Let's see, Crazy Hunter almost level 45. I'm only like level 30, what? 4? I forget, I'm looking back again. I've done that like 5 times already. But congratulations. Keep on moving. Hopefully you'll be able to get some more rare flowers bloomed up. And Tension Mo has dropped friend code. Again, reminder, if you guys want to drop your friend codes to exchange back and forth, you're more than welcome to do so. I am not, simply because I'm at like 190 some friends. Pretty sure the maximum is 200, and I want to leave at least some space for local people if and when I bump into them. And I tell you, with 190 some people sending me postcards, I can't keep up with all that. Didn't I say I was going to open postcards in this stream? I'll open a batch before we end off. We're almost done anyway. There's not much more to really talk about. Erica says, you'd like to see a way to speed up the expeditions with an item, like nectar coffee, or, as I said about the sprays earlier, ultra spicy spray, if they include that. That could be a way to speed them up. I do think I've discovered, though, that flower Pikmin move quicker for expeditions than non-flower Pikmin. The reason I say this is because purple Pikmin are normally at least some of the slowest. Red Pikmin are about standard. The other day I had a red and a purple that both wanted to go get their gifts. They were a good, like, say 20 minutes away for the red guy. But when I sent them both off, the purple Pikmin ran so fast past the red one. I was like, what happened? The purple one had a flower, but the red one didn't. So maybe flowering your Pikmin before the expedition can speed things up a little bit. I'm not sure. That's not fully tested on my end, but from what I saw that one day, that seemed to be an indicator. Where else? Where else? Yes, as Gerard says, keep planting pansy petals with the big flowers. Randomly, you can bloom up a rose. And yes, Galaxy Bumper is telling Erica here as well, flying Pikmin are generally the fastest anyway, so maybe flowering up flying Pikmin, they could just rocket to those expeditions and come right back. Anne-Marie says, you just found out... Where did I go? I lost it. Hang on. Just found out about the lotus flower from Egypt because you've been there, and the picture of the lotus flower goes on the person's head and explode on table for the gods of Egypt. Interesting. I wonder, yeah, will there be region-specific flowers all over the place? Kind of like Tauros and Farfetch and such in Pokemon Go. Nerfy Boy says, another thing you'd like to see added is the ability to buy more permanent planters. Kind of like Clash of Clans, you can get up to 5 builders. Yeah, I can see that. Like, I can also see where they wouldn't do that because they want you to keep, buying the one-use planters. But, I mean, either way, that would be okay. And Felix is saying, do you know there's a trick to use rich text to name your Pikmin? Like, you can put certain HTML code. I've heard about this. I've seen people say you can, like, bold it, italicize it, add color. I don't want to do that. Personally, I don't want to fill up the name with like all that code, but if people want to do that, apparently, I think it said it only shows on certain screens, but it still can customize the way their name shows up if you guys want to try stuff like that. Oren says you'd like to see the different types of Pikmin come into play other than matching mushrooms, right? Exactly. Be cool to see items that are only accessible to a certain type of Pikmin, like in a pond. That if you watch, I think my second or third episode that I did. I sent my Pikmin off to pick up some gifts, or expeditions, and they were across the river. I was so concerned that my non-blue Pikmin were going to drown once they got to the water's edge, but that was fine. But, yeah, as far as, like, maybe these, nope, this way. The holes I'm talking about, maybe they could have hazards in there where you need certain colored Pikmin to get through them. Who knows? We will see. Or what if things like fiery Bulblax is an enemy they add in where only red Pikmin who are resistant to fire can deal with them. There's a number of ways they could bring in like the hazard aspect. Gerard says, you don't think it's a 1 in 4 chance for roses. You bloomed over 20 yellow pansies. You haven't gotten a yellow rose. Maybe a 1 in 10. I don't know the exact odds. I just know for me, it's been roughly like a 1 in 4. So maybe I've just been getting really super lucky though. Right now, there's no way for me to tell. Nintendo says you're going to 3 or maybe 4 game stores because soon you're gonna your mom's friend's gonna get you a game, but you keep watching. Your birthday is soon. Well, happy early birthday! Thanks for hanging out with us here. I won't keep you too much longer because I've gone over pretty much everything I wanted to. I do want to mention a couple of those, as I said, what? Data mine things. That's it. I want to mention those before we go. So let's just, okay. I'm going to get to that right now. For the time being, if you don't want to hear any potential spoilers from in the game's code, don't listen. Hit mute for now. I'll give you the double thumbs up once you can come back. But I'll talk about things where again, I'm not the kind of person that wants to know this stuff ahead of time. I like to experience it as it happens. But I felt like I wanted to try to tell you folks as much as I can during this stream. And there's a few things I've learned. So mute me in 3, 2, 1 now, if you don't want to hear what I'm going to say. So I believe there was a post on Reddit, and I forget whose name it was, but when I read it, I was too excited to see the information. There's something mentioning gold seedling fragments, where I don't know if they said that you would be getting these fragments from things like daily events, maybe like the challenges or the research in Pokemon Go, where you can get a certain number of these gold seedling fragments, and I think it said when you get 10,000 of them, which sounds like a lot, they come together and form a gold seedling that you can then walk and pluck out, and I don't know what it would give you, but that's just what I was reading. And by the way, take this all with a grain of salt because I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I myself do not read into the code. I'm just repeating what I have already heard from other sources. So there's that. Now, there is also, they showed a few other decor photos of Pikmin that are not in the game yet. There was like snacks, like, you know, chocolate snack bag or something like that. There was also a burger store. Some Pikmin looking like a container of fries, a hamburger, stuff like that. So there's going to be possibly new decor options coming. But what I found the most interesting, and this kind of goes into play with what I was talking about, these creatures being added. 2 lines of text. One said something along the lines of, "No need to worry. Your Pikmin will remember everything you've been through." You know, something like, makes it sound like, so you're losing the Pikmin, but they somehow will still remember you. So that almost sounds like you've lost them, but they're coming back. But as my nephew said, too, I mentioned that to him, he said that almost sounds like when you release a Pikmin, even though it won't be in your game anymore, it'll remember what you've done. I mean, to what end, I don't know, because it's not in the game anymore at that point. But the second line of text said something about, if your Pikmin reverts back to a seed, no problem, don't worry. Just walk it again to regrow it and pluck it once more. So it sounds like if these lines of code do get used, then there will be some form of Pikmin recycling where they can get turned back into a seedling. Again, I don't know for sure. That's just stuff that I was reading on Reddit. And if you guys want to do a little Google search for that yourself, try to get some more information, go ahead. And that was basically all I could find as far as stuff possibly in the game that I don't know yet. There's not really too much hidden information that I could find. But that's about that. And we're back with the double thumbs up, so the spoilery stuff is done. And I think that's about all there is to go over for today. I do want to open some postcards just quick. We're gonna open up about 10 postcards here. So we got from Jube the Cube. I can't tap. Let's take a look at a 2-star successful challenge from the Benicia, I don't know, a state park. Very nice. So I want to talk about how I do this too. Every day I want to open all the postcards that are sent to me because I want your Pikmin to come back to you as soon as you can, or as soon as they can. Because if a really powerful Pikmin has sent me a postcard, I don't want it locked away from you. But since I only get a number of postcards myself to send back, and I've got like 190 people sending me postcards, I do limit myself sending back postcards until I have a good stock. Usually I'm going to say like every Monday or Friday, I'll send out what I have on a first come first served basis. I'm going to run out before everyone can get a postcard in return, and I apologize for that, but I just can't keep up. There's so many of you that send me postcards, and I appreciate them all. We got us a 2-star challenge on a small red mushroom from Jav1 from Santa Cruz. There's the Placa Fosultad de Condet. I'm gonna destroy that. I'm gonna stop right there. But 2-star challenge success. We've got Gyroid Keeper. Gyroid Keeper sends quite a lot of regular postcards from the playground here in Ridgewich. I should stop trying to pronounce things that I do not know how to pronounce. We got Glitter Britta. This is our 4th postcard here. Look at this. Looks like a public art installment. 1-star challenge complete. You got yourself a toothpaste, a toothbrush, yellow Pikmin, and the blue coffee cup. I need that one. I've only got a couple more coffee or cafe Pokemon. I always do that. Cafe Pikmin. I gotta get to complete my set. I like Bean. A little Bean. You barely see Bean's face when you're looking at him straight on. We got from Goldilocks here as well. 4-star challenge from the Butterfly Hydrant. Look at that. Just paint a hydrant, make it a Pokestop or a flower. You could do that. Nice 3-star success. Small yellow mushroom. Yes, as I say, the small mushrooms right now, even for myself, they're the only ones I can get 4 stars on. I don't think I've gotten a 2-star yet on a large mushroom. Maybe someday. What is this? More public art. Look, an acorn Pikmin sent that my way from Windswept. That is Borgata, wherever that is. You can actually see where all these postcards come from on your map, too, if you choose to do so. Okay, let's open up a couple more. We're going to go another Windswept, then we'll swing over to Sailor Pika, one of our channel members, and we'll call it there for the stream. We've got a Propel, of course. Propeller from a ancient plane. Now, do planes still use propellers? Or are they more like jet engines? Technology just changes so much. From Windswept, that looks like a green acorn on the white one there. I don't have any forest decors yet. I gotta grab some of them somewhere, but I don't have any real forests that I can walk to right now. 4 stars, right there, 4-star success. Oh, you got a plain Pikmin, the Lord of Dragons in New York. Small blue mushroom challenge complete. Alright, we'll end off with this from Sailor Pika. This is, look at all the purple purple Pikmin from the Agraria in Santa Rosa. Nice. Thank you for that. Alright, so I'm going to try something. I'm not sure how well I'm going to be able to do it, but I got to set something up here. Just one moment. I'm going to check the chat one more time before I jump into this last little bit. Oren says if you have Pikmin from far, or if you have far away item, use the flying Pikmin because they're the quickest, of course. Erica says, did you know if you go into the settings, you can turn off expeditions? Really? I mean, I'm not going to do that, but it's interesting they have that as an option, though. AJ says, is there a reason to send and collect postcards aside from seeing the sites? At the moment, no. Not that I know of. There doesn't seem to be any way to gain anything from it. So, like right now, honestly, it just feels like the postcard feature is just a way to lose access to your Pikmin temporarily until the player, the recipient, opens it, and then your Pikmin comes back to you. So, there's not really much benefit to it at the moment. I mean, I guess it's cool to see certain locations, but I would like to see definitely a better thing added to the postcards where it's like more substantial. Nerfy Boy says, this may have already been answered, but you've been wondering, what is the advantage of blooming large flowers? You haven't bloomed one yet. Well, blooming a large flower, see this pansy over here? It's got a fruit glowing next to it. Essentially, the only real benefit is getting fruit. And the fruit will provide you with nectar that you can feed to your Pikmin, which makes them happier, and also gives you more petals that you can then bloom more large flowers with. So it's just, basically, it's just a continuous cycle. You plant the petals you get from your Pikmin to bloom a flower, to get a fruit, take the fruit to get nectar, feed it to your Pikmin, they produce more petals. But you can sometimes occasionally bloom a more rare flower and start collecting more rare nectar and petals by just continuously trying to bloom these flowers up. As of right now, that's basically it. Oh, there was another thing I thought might be a cool addition to the game. I'm kind of second guessing it now because it would be really, what would you call it? Really repetitive and redundant and whatever. But what if, as far as if any of these monsters are added to the game and they patrol an area that you actually live in, like for example, if I had a Bulborb, let's use you, buddy. Let's move this Bulborb. What if this Bulborb had a patrol path where it goes from here down to this corner and then back up to that corner, he would eat my Pikmin every time he walks by. What if there was a thing you could do to build yourself like a little shelter or like a hiding space? Maybe you need to collect a certain number of sticks or leaves as you walk around. And what if blooming a big flower, when it unblooms or wilts, I guess, what if it leaves behind sticks and leaves? And then you could use those to build your little shelter. Maybe the shelter could last for like, say, 12 hours or something. I don't know. But it'd be cool to, like, because in the main series, they would always leave the planet, go into low orbit to avoid the monsters. But we don't do that here. That's the other thing I didn't even mention. We want a day and night cycle. We want to have... This would probably only really matter, though, when enemies get added. But have a day and night cycle happen where at night the monsters are more active. And you might need to do one of these shelter ideas to keep yourself safe overnight. Or say if you have to go to work for that day, you're working like a 12-hour shift or something, you get to work, you can build your shelter there so that while you're working, your Pikmin will be safe. That would be kind of an interesting thing. You just have to build like yourself a defense on the planet. Because like think back to Pikmin 2, for those of you who remember that, at the end when, spoilers, when Louis gets left behind, how did he survive on that planet? I mean, first of all, there's the oxygen issue. Oxygen is poisonous to Hocotations. But he must have had to have some sort of shelters to hide in, right? So that might be kind of cool to see added. I don't know. We will see if anything like that does come to be. Let's see. Anne Marie says, you forgot to tell you what else you got in Pokemon Go. You got, from a raid, you got Zekrom on the 1st of December? Was that cool? It's like an early Christmas present. And Gerard got a 4-star challenge one today. You didn't know it was possible until now. Well, now you do. Now you know to keep aiming for those. And as soon as I get to check the numbers of purple challenges, as far as what damage output Pikmin do, I'm going to be posting my results on my social media so everyone knows which 3 top Pikmin are your best choices for taking on mushroom challenges. I will say the brown mushrooms, they're the worst because nobody gets like a color boost against them, and even your strongest types of purple and rock, they're only like 13 power, whereas a red Pikmin versus a red mushroom is 23 if we're talking full friendship, decor item, and a rose or a pansy bloom. Those are your strongest types. So brown mushrooms are garbage. If you can avoid them, please do so. But sometimes if you have no other options, if you have only brown mushrooms in your area, and if you're the only one that plays in your neighborhood, you might need to take a brown down to have a better one spawn up afterwards. Funny story, too, before we go on to what I'm going to leave off with. This gray mushroom over here, last night it was a small red challenge, and I was all out of challenges for the day because you can only do 3, and I was like, okay, tomorrow morning, you are mine, buddy. I wake up, big gray mushroom. So what must have happened? Another player must have seen that and took it down, and I'm like, well, all right then, whatever. I got enough red pansy nectar, I suppose, but I got to deal with this gray one. But I might get to that at some point. Is there a friend code exchange for folks here that play Pikmin Bloom or Pokemon Go? Asks AJ. Absolutely. As we're getting close to the end here, if anybody wants to drop one last barrage of your friend codes for either game, be more than welcome. Be my guest. Go right ahead, drop those codes. Let's see. Felix says all airplanes do have propeller generators for emergency power. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. I'm not, I don't know everything about all technologies these days, so that's actually interesting to know. Oni says, you just started playing this game yesterday. You've been dying to find a good game to play with your busy schedule. So this is a good game in the sense that even if you're not actively playing it, you can still be planting flowers in the background. Just start dropping flowers, put it in your pocket. You can even close the game, I think. Yeah, you can close the game and it'll still plant flowers for you. Wait, I think? That's how much I know about this. I'm not even sure about that, but I think that's true. And you'll still gain stuff for it as you go. Let's see, Graphic N, you just got Rock Pikmin the other day. You gotta say it was a quick journey, considering you walk 20,000 steps a day, but still a great achievement. Anyone who's working towards it, you got it. Keep it up, bro. Words of inspiration from Graphic N. Feel free, everyone. Keep going at whatever pace you feel comfortable with. Like, Some people look at me and they say, I'm only at like level 18. How are you level 30 something? I can't catch that. And it's like, you don't need to catch that. Play at your pace and have fun with it. Okay, so we're going to end off with one last thing here. Now I got to close down Pikmin Bloom to make this happen. And hang on, I got to figure out how to do this. So, for any of you that is a channel member here on Professor Chaz, this live stream is going to end. It's going to feed you to a page for another live stream coming up, but the live stream is only for members. Now, I don't know if everyone's going to be pushed over to that or not. You might be pushed to it, and then if you're not a member, it might just say this is available only for members. Honestly, I should have figured out how that's going to work, but I didn't. I'm going to close that down there, and I got to close out the game. One sec here. But there's a new thing that I plan to be adding to the channel, a new feature, a new regular kind of series. And, okay, hang on. Bear with me. Behind the scenes stuff happening here. I'm going to see if I can make this work. 1 second. Okay, let's see here. Is this a go? Wait, I got to plug something else in. I'll get decent at this someday. I'm going to have to. Okay.